Have you ever had a moment, a single perfect moment, where you felt so completely safe, so utterly loved, that you believed with every fiber of your being that nothing could ever go wrong? I did. I can still feel the sun on my skin that day. I can still hear the laughter, so clear it hurts. It was the last day of the before. The last day before the world I knew cracked open and showed me the darkness hiding just beneath the surface. My name is Lena, and this is not a story about a victim. This is a story about what happens when the quiet one stops being quiet. I want you to picture it. A beautiful, sprawling backyard. The smell of charcoal and grilled meat in the air.
Check the red.
The sound of our friends cheering as my husband, Daniel, flipped burgers with that confident, easy smile of his. Our 10-year-old daughter, Chloe, was chasing fireflies as twilight began to paint the sky purple. We were celebrating. My little art studio, a dream I'd nurtured for a decade, had just landed its first major corporate client. It was a deal that would secure our future, that would finally lift the financial worry from Daniel's shoulders. He'd been stressed, working long hours at his architecture firm. This win, it was for us, for our family. He raised his glass, his eyes finding mine across the garden, those warm, honey brown eyes I'd fallen asleep looking at for 12 years. "To my brilliant wife," he said, his voice thick with an emotion I mistook for pride. "To the quiet force in our lives who makes magic happen, I'm so proud of you, Lena." Everyone clinked their glasses. I felt a warmth that had nothing to do with the summer night. This was it, the pinnacle, the harvest of all our struggles. Later, as we cleaned up, Chloe asleep on the couch inside, he wrapped his arms around me from behind. He buried his face in my hair. "We did it, baby," he whispered. "All those late nights, all the scrimping and saving, it's finally paying off." I leaned back into him, believing every word. I believed in the partnership. I believed in the we. But there was a shadow in that perfect picture. A small, almost invisible crack. My older sister, Mara. She was there too, of course. Always there. She'd been quieter than usual, sipping her wine, watching Daniel with an unreadable expression. When I caught her eye, she gave me a tight smile. "You really hit the jackpot, didn't you, Lena?" she'd said. I'd laughed it off, thinking it was just her usual, slightly bitter humor. Mara had always been the ambitious one, the fiery one, while I was the calm one, the artist. She'd chosen high-powered corporate life and was perpetually single, often making pointed comments about my domestic bliss. I thought it was just envy. I was so naive. Because if you had told me that night, as I watched the last embers of the barbecue die, that the two people I loved most in the world, my husband and my sister, were already weaving a web of betrayal so deep, so intimate, it would threaten to erase me from my own life, I would have called you insane. I would have laughed. But the universe, it seems, has a cruel sense of timing. It gives you your happiest memory right before it takes everything away. The crack showed itself a week later. A simple thing, a text message. Daniel was in the shower and his phone, left on the kitchen counter, buzzed. Once, twice, a third time. It was unusual. His phone was like an extra limb, but he'd forgotten it. I glanced over. The preview on the screen showed a name, M, Client Liaison, and the message fragment, "Can't stop thinking about last night. The way you..." My blood didn't run cold. It stopped. The world shrank to that glowing rectangle. M, Client Liaison? Mara. He'd saved my sister's number under a fake business title. The shower stopped. I moved away from the counter as if it were electrified. Daniel came out, towel around his waist, smiling. He saw my face. "You okay, Len?" I pointed a trembling finger at the phone, which buzzed again. "Your phone," I managed to say. "It's buzzing." A flicker, so fast I almost missed it. A flicker of something in his eyes, panic, calculation, before it was replaced by smooth concern. "Oh, probably just Mark from the office. He's panicking about the Henderson project." He scooped up the phone, his back to me as he typed a quick reply. He didn't open the messages, he just replied. My heart was a trapped bird against my ribs. The way you what? That was the moment the seed was planted, the seed of dread. I didn't scream, I didn't deny him. Something primal, some deep, instinctive voice inside me that I never knew I had, told me to be quiet, to watch, to wait. Screaming would give me only tears and denials. Silence could give me the truth. And I needed the truth, no matter how much it would destroy me. This was the beginning. The day I stopped being Lena, the loving wife, and started becoming something else. Something patient. Something dangerous. They say when you start looking for lies, you find them everywhere. In the next month, my world became a museum of tiny, horrifying exhibits. Daniel started working later. His phone, which used to face up on the nightstand, now always faced down. He'd started a new gym routine, coming home with a renewed energy that wasn't spent on me. He bought new cologne, small things, explainable things. A stressed man trying to better himself, right? But then there was Mara, my sister. She became more present, more involved. She'd drop by unexpectedly with coffee for me, but her eyes would scan the room for Daniel. She'd ask pointed questions about his schedule. Is Daniel traveling for that big project? You must be so lonely here all by yourself. Her sympathy felt like acid. The client liaison messages became more frequent. Daniel was always ready with an excuse. Client demands, late-night brainstorming, networking drinks. I smiled, I nodded. I made his favorite meals. I was the perfect, trusting wife. And inside, I was freezing over. The breaking point, no, the shattering point, came on a Thursday. Daniel told me he was going to a weekend architectural conference 2 states over. He showed me the website, the itinerary. It looked legitimate. He packed his suitcase with a strange, almost eager precision. When he kissed me goodbye, it was quick, on the cheek. I'll call you tonight, he said, not meeting my eyes. A cold certainty settled in my gut. I didn't cry, I didn't collapse, I just got to work. I called in a favor from an old college friend, Ben, who worked in IT and had always been a little in love with me. I gave him the conference details, the hotel name. Ben, I just have a bad feeling. Can you check something for me, discreetly? The shame of asking was a stone in my throat, but the need to know was stronger. It took him less than an hour. The call came. His voice was gentle, pitying. Lena, he never checked into that hotel, and his credit card was used an hour ago at the Lavender Inn. It's a boutique hotel about 20 minutes from your house. 20 minutes, not 2 states. 20 minutes. The Lavender Inn was known for one thing, discretion, for affairs. I thanked Ben, my voice robotic. I sat in my silent, beautiful home, the home we'd built together, and felt the walls close in. 20 minutes. He was with her right now, whoever she was, in some plush room, while I sat surrounded by photos of our happiness. The anger came then, a white-hot wave. I wanted to drive there. I wanted to kick down the door. I wanted to scream until my lungs bled. But I didn't. I remembered the seed.
You take the red pill.
Screaming wouldn't end this. It would just give him a chance to lie, to explain it away. I needed irrefutable proof. I needed to see it. So I did something I never thought myself capable of. I got in my car. I drove to the Lavender Inn. I parked across the street, hidden behind a delivery van, and I waited. The clock ticked. Minutes felt like hours. I watched couples come and go, my heart hammering. What was I doing? Was I really this person spying on her own husband? Then I saw them. The world lost all sound. It was like watching a silent, horrific movie. The lobby doors slid open, and there they were. Daniel, laughing, his hand resting on the small of her back, and her, Mara, my sister, wearing a dress I'd never seen, her hair perfectly undone. She tilted her head back, laughing at something he said, and he leaned in, kissing her forehead with a tenderness that stole the air from my lungs. It wasn't a shocking glimpse of a stranger. It was the intimate, easy familiarity of 2 people deeply entangled. This wasn't a first-time mistake. This was a habit. This was a life. Their life, running parallel to mine. I didn't scream. I didn't honk the horn. I sat there, my hands clenched on the steering wheel so tight, my knuckles turned white. I watched as they walked to his car, his arm around her shoulders. They looked like the couple. They looked right. And in that moment, I saw it all. The late nights, the fake client name, Mara's sudden interest, their shared glances at the barbecue. It wasn't just a betrayal of marriage, it was a betrayal of blood, of history, of every secret we'd shared as sisters. They drove away, together, and I was left alone in the dark, the ghost of my own life. The drive home was a blur, but when I walked back into my empty house, something had shifted. The grief was there, a vast black ocean inside me, but on its surface, a new, cold, solid structure was forming, a plan. The shock had burned away, leaving behind a pure, crystalline clarity.
The red pill.
They thought I was weak. They thought I was the quiet, oblivious wife, the unambitious sister. They had mistaken my peace for passivity, my love for blindness. They were wrong. I went to Chloe's room. She was asleep, her stuffed rabbit tucked under her arm. I looked at her innocent face, and the coldness in my heart solidified into steel. They weren't just betraying me, they were betraying her. They were risking her family, her stability, her world for their selfishness. That I could not forgive. I didn't scream, I planned. And the first phase of my plan was simple. I had to know everything. I had to become a ghost in my own home, listening, collecting, learning. I had to understand the full architecture of their lie before I could bring it crashing down on their heads. The Lena they knew died in that parking lot. Someone else was breathing now. Someone with nothing left to lose. Have you ever tried to unlove someone while living with them? It's a special kind of torture. You have to smile at the man who split your soul in two. You have to hug the sister who plunged the knife in your back. You have to do it all while your child sleeps peacefully down the hall, unaware that her mother is now a spy in her own home. That's what I became. A ghost, a data collector. Emotion was a luxury I could no longer afford. It was a variable that would cloud my judgment, so I locked it away in a deep, dark vault inside me. The grief, the rage, the humiliation, I compressed them into a diamond-hard core of purpose. My love for Chloe was the only warmth I allowed myself to feel. Everything else was fuel for the engine of my revenge. The day after I saw them at the Lavender Inn, Daniel came home, full of fake stories about keynote speakers and boring seminars. I listened, nodding, serving him dinner. "How was Mara this weekend?" I asked casually, stirring a pot on the stove. "Did she check in?" She said she might be busy. A micro hesitation, a slight tightening around his eyes. "Oh, you know Mara. Probably buried in work. I didn't hear from her." The lie was so smooth, so effortless. It confirmed everything. They had coordinated their stories. This was a well-rehearsed play, and I had been their audience of one. Phase 1. Digital footprints. Daniel was careless with his physical phone, but he was logged into everything on our home computer, an old laptop we shared for household things.
Take the red pill.
One night, claiming I had a migraine, I went to bed early. I heard him go to his study. An hour later, I silently crept downstairs. The house was dark. The laptop was in the living room. My heart was a drum in my ears as I opened it. It asked for a password. I tried Chloe's birthday. Denied. I tried our anniversary. Denied. I took a wild guess. I typed in Mara's birthday. The screen unlocked. The simplicity of it was an insult. He'd used her birthday. I felt a wave of nausea so strong I had to grip the edge of the table. This wasn't just an affair. This was a dedication, a shrine to her. I didn't have much time. I plugged in a tiny, unremarkable USB drive my friend Ben had given me. It installed a piece of software in the background, a keylogger, and a remote access tool. It would send every keystroke, every website visited, every file opened to a secure online drive only I could access. In 10 minutes, I was done. The laptop was back exactly where it was. I was back in bed. My migraine very real now, pulsing with every heartbeat. The data started trickling in the next day. I would review it in stolen moments, when Daniel was in the shower, when I was supposedly grocery shopping, late at night. It was a waterfall of deceit. Emails drafted to her in a secret account, hotel confirmations, a shared digital calendar with coded entries, dinner at LG, the Lighthouse Grill, weekend at LI, the Lavender Inn. They had a life, a routine. They were planning a future. And then I found the financial documents. Daniel had always handled our investments, the boring stuff, as he called it. I trusted him. The art studio money was in a joint account, but the bulk of our savings, the proceeds from his big projects, were in accounts under his name. The keylogger captured him accessing statements. I saw transfers, large sums moving from our joint savings into an account I'd never heard of, Horizon Holdings, LLC. A few searches through the state's business registry, accessed through a public library computer so it couldn't be traced back to me, revealed the truth. Horizon Holdings was registered to Daniel and Mara. They were business partners. They were siphoning off our family's money, my studio's success money, into their own shared venture. They weren't just stealing my marriage, they were stealing my future, my daughter's future. The betrayal had layers, like a poisonous onion. Each one I peeled away made my eyes sting, but my hands grew steadier. Phase 2, the human element. I needed to understand the why, the depth of their alliance. I started manufacturing reasons to see Mara, lunch dates. I'd cry, just a little, about how distant Daniel had become. I played the confused, worried wife to perfection, and she played the concerned sister. Men go through phases, Lena. Maybe he's just overwhelmed. You know, he talks to me about the stress at the firm sometimes. She was feeding me crumbs of inside information about my own husband, positioning herself as the bridge between us. The arrogance was breathtaking. One afternoon, over coffee, she slipped. She was talking about a new real estate development on the north side of town, a project Daniel's firm wasn't involved with. She spoke about the financing, the permits, with a granular detail that went beyond casual interest. "It's a golden opportunity," she said, her eyes gleaming. Then she caught herself, sipping her latte. I read about it in the business journal, but I knew this was their project, Horizon Holdings project. They were using our money to build their dream property, a monument to their new life together, a life that explicitly did not include me or Chloe. I left that coffee shop, a smile frozen on my face, and walked to my car. And for the first time, I let a sliver of the coldness out. Not grief, not yet. It was something darker, more focused. It was the quiet certainty of a surgeon who has just identified the cancer. You don't get angry at the tumor, you just make a plan to cut it out. I had the evidence of the affair. I had the evidence of the financial betrayal. But it wasn't enough. A scandalous divorce would give them what they wanted, freedom to be together, likely with a chunk of my money. They'll play the "we fell in love, it was complicated" card. They'll be the brave new couple who overcame adversity. I'll be the pitiful ex-wife. Chloe would be torn between a broken home and a new, shiny family led by her aunt-turned-stepmother. No, that was their script. I was writing a new one. They wanted to build an empire on the ruins of my life, then I would make sure the ground beneath their feet turned to quicksand. I would let them build it high, let them pour every secret, every stolen dollar, every arrogant dream into it. And then, when they were at the very top, admiring their creation, I would pull the foundation out from under them. The ghost was done observing. It was time to start building a trap. Revenge, I learned, is not a moment of explosive violence. It's architecture. It's the careful, patient laying of brick upon brick until your target is living in a prison they built themselves, unaware that you hold the only key. For the next 3 months, I became the architect of their downfall, and the blueprint was simple. Give them exactly what they wanted until it destroyed them. I called it Operation Blessing. I would be their greatest benefactor, their unknowing patron. I would feed their greed, their arrogance, their sense of invincibility. I started with Daniel. One evening, as we were cleaning up after dinner, I put on my best performance of hesitant hope. You know, Dan, with the studio money finally stable, I've been looking at our finances. He stiffened almost imperceptibly. We've been so careful for so long, I continued, looking down as if shy. What if we took a little risk? A smart one. You've always had such a good eye for investments. Maybe you could look into something for us. Something that could really grow for Chloe's future. I saw the calculation in his eyes, greed warring with caution. This was an open door, a way to legitimize moving more money. Are you sure, Alina? He asked, putting on his responsible husband mask. You've always been the cautious one. I trust you, I said, looking him straight in the eyes, pouring all the fake devotion I could muster into those 3 words. You've always taken care of us. It was like watching a snake accept a gift. He smiled, a genuine, eager smile I hadn't seen in months. Let me do some research. There are some interesting opportunities in commercial real estate development right now. I know, I thought. I've read your emails. The hook was set. Over the next few weeks, Daniel became a new man at home, attentive, affectionate even. He was getting what he wanted, easy access to capital with my blessing. He and Mara, through Horizon Holdings, began moving faster. The keylogger showed frantic activity. Loan applications, contractor bids, permit requests for a small but luxury apartment complex. They were all in. Our joint savings began to hemorrhage, always with plausible explanations from Daniel. Bridge financing, earnest money, architectural retainer. I signed every transfer document he put in front of me with a trembling, trusting smile. But I wasn't idle. While they were busy building their castle in the sky, I was digging a moat around it. With Ben's remote help, I created a shadow inventory. Every document, every email, every financial transfer related to Horizon Holdings was silently copied and stored in multiple encrypted locations. I also began a separate, more delicate project, mapping their social and professional network. Who were their investors? Who was approving their permits at the city council? Who was the silent third partner hinted at in some of the emails? This led me to a man named Victor Croft, a name that dripped with old money and quiet influence. He was the primary private investor in their project, covering a 40% stake. Daniel and Mara's emails spoke of him with a mix of reverence and fear. He was the key, but also ruthless and old-fashioned. They were terrified of disappointing him. Victor Croft became my first potential ally. Not a friend, I had none of those left, but a tool, a very large, very heavy hammer. Meanwhile, I tended to my relationship with Mara. I became her confidant, inverting the roles. I'm just so glad Daniel has you to talk business with, I'd sigh over lunch. It takes such a load off me. I'm just not cut out for that world. I fed her ego. I made her feel smarter, more capable, more deserving than me. I watched her blossom with a sense of superiority that was going to be her undoing. She started talking more freely, dropping hints about her big project with a mysterious partner, her eyes shining with the triumph she thought was hidden from me. The final brick in their prison was the most painful to lay. It involved Chloe. Daniel, in his newfound happiness, started suggesting more involvement from Mara in our daughter's life. Mara could take her to ballet sometimes, give you a break. Maybe Aunt Mara could help with the science fair project. He was testing the waters, slowly weaving her into the fabric of our family life, preparing for the transition. It took every ounce of my strength not to recoil. Instead, I encouraged it. What a wonderful idea, I chirped. Chloe adores her Auntie Mara. Inside, I was dying, but I let it happen. I let Mara pick Chloe up from school. I let her take her for weekends. Weekends I knew Daniel would coincidentally be working. I let my daughter be used as a prop in their happy family rehearsal. Each time Chloe came home, chattering about the fun she had with Daddy and Auntie Mara, it was a knife twisting in my soul. But I collected those moments too. Photos Ben helped me pull from Mara's carelessly public social media accounts. The 3 of them at the zoo, at a pizza place, smiling. They looked like a perfect, ready-made family. It was the ultimate evidence of their long-term intent. The prison was nearly complete. They were incited, living their dream. Daniel was the visionary architect, Mara the savvy business partner. They had my money, my apparent blessing, and they were beginning to believe they had my daughter's heart. Their arrogance was at its peak. They felt untouchable, and that's exactly where I needed them to be, because the next phase wasn't about building anymore. It was about introducing a single, fatal flaw in their foundation, a flaw with a name, Victor Croft. I had everything I needed to destroy their relationship, but that was too small, too personal. It would leave them brokenhearted but free. I wanted to destroy the thing they loved more than each other right now, their dream, their future, their precious Horizon Holdings. I wanted to take their empire and show the world it was built on sand, lies, and stolen love. The ghost was ready to become a phantom. It was time to start whispering in the ears of giants. Taking down a giant like Victor Croft's interest wasn't about confrontation. It was about precision. It was about presenting him with a truth so inconvenient, so dangerous to his own interests, that he would have no choice but to act. And he would do the dirty work for me. I just had to hand him the weapon. I spent 2 weeks crafting the perfect package. It wasn't an emotional plea. Victor Croft wouldn't care about a betrayed wife. He would care about 3 things: money, reputation, and legal liability. My package addressed all 3. First, I compiled a clean, professional dossier. Using a fake email account and an anonymous VPN, I created a digital file. It contained 1. The financial trail, documents showing the transfer of marital assets from our joint accounts into Horizon Holdings, highlighting the dates and amounts. Annotations pointed out that these transfers occurred without full spousal knowledge or independent legal advice, a potential issue for any investor in a partnership built on disputed funds. 2. The conflict of interest. Screenshots of Daniel's firm's client list showing he was currently working on a municipal project for the same city council that was approving permits for Horizon Holdings, a clear, unethical conflict his firm's partners would not be aware of. 3. The personal risk. The most delicate part. Not the salacious affair details, but the implications. Carefully selected emails between Daniel and Mara discussing the project, showing their emotional entanglement. One where Mara wrote, "If this fails, we have nothing. It's all on this." And Daniel's reply, "We can't fail. I've put everything in. Lena suspects nothing." This showed terrible emotional judgment and massive personal risk, the exact kind of partners a shrewd investor like Croft would run from. 4. The public relations bomb. The photos of Daniel, Mara, and Chloe presented as a happy family unit. The caption, implied but not stated, is Horizon Holdings a business, or is it the financial engine for a new family built on the ashes of an old one? For a traditional, image-conscious man like Croft, this association with scandal would be toxic. I wrote a cover note. No names, no threats, just facts. Subject: Due diligence concerns. Horizon Holdings, Project North Haven Apartments. Body: As a concerned party with access to insider information, I believe your investment in Horizon Holdings carries unexamined risks. The attached documents outline potential issues regarding the source of capital, partner conduct, and hidden conflicts of interest. A prudent investor may wish to reevaluate. This information will be forwarded to the relevant Architectural Licensing Board and City Planning Commission in 7 days. It was a clock, a 7-day clock hanging over their dream. I sent it from an anonymous server, late on a Tuesday night. Then I waited. The silence was the loudest sound I'd ever heard. For 3 days, nothing changed. Daniel was still jovial, Mara was still smug. Had I miscalculated? Had Croft dismissed it? Then, on Friday afternoon, Daniel came home early. His face was pale, his eyes hollow. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. "Lena," he said, his voice shaky, we have a problem with the project." I put on my mask of innocent concern. "What's wrong, honey? Did something happen?" "Victor Croft, he's pulling his funding." Daniel sank into a kitchen chair, running his hands through his hair. He sent a letter. He cited concerns over partner stability and ethical compliance. He's invoking the morality clause in our contract. He's not just pulling out, he's demanding immediate repayment of his bridge loan. He says if we don't comply, he'll file complaints with the city and my licensing
You
board.
take the red pill.
The first domino had fallen, and it fell with the weight of a mountain. I sat beside him, putting a hand on his back. That's terrible. But can't you explain? It must be a misunderstanding. It's not, he almost shouted, then lowered his voice, a frantic energy in his eyes. He knew things, Lena, specific things, about our finances, about things he shouldn't know. For a terrifying second, I thought he'd look at me with suspicion, but his paranoia was directed elsewhere. It has to be someone at the city office, or maybe a disgruntled contractor. Someone is out to get us. Us. He still meant him and Mara. In his moment of crisis, his mind went to their partnership, not to his wife. The last tiny ember of hope that he might confess, might break down and come back to me, died right then. What are you going to do? I asked softly. I have to talk to Mara. We need to find more money, fast. If we can't repay Croft, he'll destroy me. My career, it'll be over. He left, rushing out to meet her, no doubt. I watched him go from the window. The panic on his face was the first real, honest emotion I'd seen from him in months. It was beautiful. The next week was a symphony of chaos, played out through the keylogger and Daniel's increasingly late-night phone calls I'd listened to from the hallway. Their perfect world was crumbling. They scrambled to find new investors, but Croft's sudden exit was a red flag in their small circle. Banks denied loan applications. Contractors started demanding upfront payments. The project, their golden child, was gasping for air, and the tension between them began to show. The emails grew terse. I saw one from Mara. You said your finances were clean. How did he find out about the transfers? Did you tell someone? Daniel's reply was defensive, angry. You were the one who wanted to move faster. You said Lena would never notice. They were turning on each other. The pressure was revealing the cracks in their alliance. The love story was starting to look like a bad business deal. But I couldn't let them fail just yet. Not like this. A financial setback would hurt, but they'd still have each other.
Take the red
They'd still
pill.
have the story of being star-crossed lovers against the world. I needed the fall to be from a greater height. I needed the world to see who they really were. So, I initiated phase 2 of the collapse. I had to make sure when they hit the ground, there would be no one to catch them. No money, no reputation, and most importantly, no trust left between them. It was time to introduce a little poison into their well. A poison called doubt. The most powerful weapon in betrayal isn't a fact, it's a question. A single, well-placed seed of doubt can grow into a forest of paranoia that chokes out even the strongest bond. Daniel and Mara were already scared, already blaming each other in whispers. I decided to give those whispers a megaphone. I would become the anonymous source, the phantom in their machines, and I would speak to each of them in a voice only they could hear. I created 2 new, untraceable email personas. For Daniel, I was Watchful Eye. For Mara, I was Truth Seeker 99. The messages would be brief, devastating, and designed to exploit their deepest, most secret insecurities. To Daniel, I sent this. From Watchful Eye, subject, your partner. Message, she's not who you think. Ask her about the meeting with Croft's associate last month, the one you weren't invited to. She's hedging her bets, protecting herself. You're the fall guy. This was based on a real cryptic email I'd seen from Mara mentioning a coffee with VC's man. I had no idea what was discussed, but Daniel didn't know that. The phrase fall guy was chosen specifically. Daniel's ego, his architect's pride, was a fragile thing. The idea that he was being used as a patsy would fester. To Mara, I sent this. From Truth Seeker 99, subject, Daniel's exit strategy. Message, he's liquidating what's left. Talk to the broker at Sterling Financial. He's preparing a lifeboat, 1 seat only. whose name is on the account. This was pure fiction, but believable fiction. Daniel was panicked. He would be looking for escape routes. The specific name of a broker at a real firm, found through his own sent emails, gave it the ring of truth. Mara's deepest fear was being left with nothing. No man, no money, no status. I sent the emails late on a Sunday night. The fallout was almost immediate and more beautiful than I could have imagined. On Monday, the keylogger captured Daniel angrily typing an email to Mara. What meeting with Croft's associate? Why wasn't I told? Her reply was defensive, frantic. It was nothing, just a networking thing. Who told you? Is someone watching us? The trust was unraveling at hyperspeed. Their digital conversations became a minefield of accusations and coded language. Each worried the other was the leak. They stopped talking about love, about a future. They talked about liability, about alibis, about saving their own skins. I escalated. A few days later, I had watchful eye send Daniel a photo. It was the one of him, Mara, and Chloe at the zoo. The message read, "She's using the child, building her case. For custody? For sympathy? You're a prop in her narrative. Always have been." I knew this would hit Daniel in a complex place. He loved Chloe in his own selfish way. The idea that Mara was cynically using their daughter as a tool would horrify him, and, more importantly, make him question the authenticity of everything about her. For Mara, Truth Seeker 99 sent a screenshot of a dummy bank statement I'd created. A simple graphic showing a wire transfer from a hidden account to an overseas bank. The message, "He's been moving money for months. The Horizon project was always a smokescreen. Ask him about the Caymans." The Caymans, the universal shorthand for hidden illicit wealth. It was the ultimate trigger for Mara's financial paranoia. The effect was volcanic. That night, Daniel didn't come home. The keylogger showed a furious 3-hour-long chain of emails between them, escalating into outright threats. Mara accused him of embezzlement. He accused her of conspiring with Croft to sabotage him. The language was ugly, brutal. The love was gone, scorched away by mutual suspicion. The final stroke came from an unexpected quarter, my daughter. Chloe, sensitive to the tension she didn't understand, had a nightmare. She came into my room crying. I comforted her, and as I was tucking her back in, she said, sleepily, "Daddy and Aunt Mara were yelling on the phone. They sounded really scary." It was the confirmation I needed. The poison had reached the heart. The next morning, Daniel came home. He looked 10 years older. He didn't speak to me. He went straight to the study and made a phone call. I listened from the kitchen. The monitor on the baby intercom we'd never gotten rid of turned on low. "It's over, Mara." His voice was flat, exhausted. "The project is dead. Croft is suing. The partners at my firm are asking questions I can't answer. And I know you've been working your own angles. I'm not going down alone." I couldn't hear her reply, but it was loud, shrill even through the tinny speaker. He cut her off. "No, don't contact me again. Not about the project, not about anything. We're done." He hung up. The silence that followed was deafening. I stood in my kitchen holding a coffee mug and felt nothing. No triumph, no joy. Just a vast, empty silence. The two people who conspired to erase me had just erased each other. But it wasn't over, not by a long shot. They were broken, but they were still standing. Daniel was still in my home. Mara was still my sister. The world still saw them as successful, if suddenly troubled, individuals. Their private hell was just that, private. I needed it to make public. I needed the walls of their prison to become transparent, so everyone could see the monsters inside. The financial and emotional ruin was complete. Now it was time for the reckoning. It was time for the world to know the truth. The ghost was done whispering. It was time to speak. There's a moment before the storm breaks when the air is perfectly still, charged with a terrifying potential. That was the week after Daniel and Mara's final blow-up. Daniel moved through the house like a ghost himself, pale, silent, jumping at every phone notification. He was waiting for the other shoe to drop, for Croft's lawsuit, for his firm's inquiry. The fear had eaten him alive. Mara vanished from our lives. No more coffee invites, no more picking up Chloe. Her social media went dark. She was licking her wounds, no doubt, planning her own survival. They were isolated, each alone in their private room. It was time to connect the dots for the world. But I wouldn't do it as the scorned wife. That was too predictable, too easy to dismiss as hysterical. I would do it as a curator. I would present the facts and let the audience, our family, our friends, the professional community, draw their own horrified conclusions. The venue was my daughter's 11th birthday party. It was a tradition, a big backyard barbecue, just like the one that had been the last good day. Daniel, in his shattered state, wanted to cancel. "How can we pretend everything is normal?" he'd muttered. "For Chloe," I said, my voice firm. "We do it for Chloe. It's the last normal thing she might have for a while." He'd agreed, too defeated to argue. I invited everyone, our friends, Daniel's colleagues from the firm, including his senior partners, my parents. Mara, of course, was invited. I knew she wouldn't come, but the invitation was a necessary piece of theater. Her absence would speak volumes. The day arrived. The sun was shining, a cruel mimicry of that day a year before. The backyard was decorated, the grill was fired up. Laughter filled the air, but it felt brittle, forced. People knew something was wrong. The rumors about Daniel's failing project were already whispers in his industry. My parents asked about Mara, and I just shook my head sadly. She's been distant lately. I'm worried about her. The key moment came after cake, when the adults were lingering with drinks and the kids were playing. I'd set up a digital photo frame on a side table, cycling through pictures of Chloe through the years. Sweets, innocent memories. I walked over to it, as if to turn it off. "Oh, let's see some more of those," my mother said, smiling nostalgically. "Of course," I said. I picked up the small remote. I actually put together a little montage for her of this past year. I clicked a button, the screen changed. It no longer showed baby pictures. It showed a title, "A Year in the Life," for Chloe, so she remembers the truth. People gathered around thinking it was a sweet tribute. Daniel, from across the yard, looked up, confused. The first image was innocent. Chloe and me at my art studio opening, smiles. Then a picture of Daniel and me from last summer. Then the screen shifted. It showed the first piece of evidence. Not the affair photos, not the emails. It showed the first bank transfer document from our joint account to Horizon Holdings, with the date circled. A voiceover began. My voice, calm, clear, recorded earlier. June 14th, the day my studio secured its future. The day $75,000 left our joint account for a company called Horizon Holdings. A murmur went through the crowd. Daniel's face drained of all color. He stood, frozen. The next image, the business registry page for Horizon Holdings, listing Daniel and Mara as managing partners. The voiceover, Horizon Holdings, a dream partnership. Gasps. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Daniel's senior partner, Mr. Henderson, leaned forward, his brow furrowed. Then I showed the coded calendar entries. Dinner at LG, a picture of the Lighthouse Grill exterior. Weekend at LI, a picture of the Lavender Inn. The voiceover remained factual, neutral. A shared calendar, a busy schedule. The crowd was dead silent now. The air was electric with dread. They knew. They could see the shape of it. Then I showed the first non-financial slide. It was a screenshot of the email where Mara had written, "If this fails, we have nothing." In Daniel's reply, "I've put everything in. Lena suspects nothing." My voice on the recording trembled just slightly. "My name is Lena. For the record, I suspected." That's when Daniel moved. "Turn it off," he roared, lunging forward. A friend, sensing the horror, gently but firmly held him back. "Lena, please, don't do this." I looked at him, my eyes dry. I clicked the remote. The final images were not of documents. They were the photos. Daniel and Mara at the Lavender Inn, his hand on her back. Daniel, Mara, and Chloe at the zoo, smiling, the perfect stolen family portrait. And finally, a simple text screen with the words, "A betrayal of marriage, a betrayal of sisterhood, a betrayal of family." I stopped the slideshow. The digital frame went black. The silence was absolute. You could hear a leaf fall. Every eye was on Daniel, who had sunk into a chair with his head in his hands. Every eye was on me, standing calmly by the table. My father was the first to speak, his voice cracking. "Lena, is this true?" I didn't look at Daniel. I looked at my parents, at our friends, at Mr. Henderson. Every word, every document, I have it all. The financial theft, the lies, the years of deception. I finally turned to Daniel. My voice was quiet, but it carried across the deadly silent yard. "You and Mara didn't just have an affair. You built a second life. You funded it with my dreams, and you used my daughter as a rehearsal prop." The dam broke. There was no yelling. There was just a slow, awful exodus of disgust. Daniel's partner, Mr. Henderson, walked over to him, his face like stone. "Don't come into the office on Monday, Daniel. You'll hear from our lawyers." He turned to me, gave a grim, sympathetic nod, and left. My parents were crying, holding each other. Friends gathered around me, not with pity, but with a stunned, protective fury. Daniel was left alone in the center of the patio, surrounded by the wreckage of the party, the wreckage of his life. He looked up at me, his eyes filled with a mixture of terror and a dawning, horrible understanding. "You," he whispered, "you did all of this? The Crofts leak, the emails?" I walked over to him, so only he could hear me. I leaned down. The calm on my face finally broke, not into anger, but into an icy, absolute finality. "I didn't scream, Daniel. I planned, and what happened next was worse for you." I stood up. I turned my back on him. I walked over to Chloe, who was watching from the porch, confused and scared by the adult drama. I took her hand. "Come on, sweetheart. The party's over." We walked into the house, leaving him outside in the ruins. The unveiling was complete. Their prison walls were now glass, and the whole world was looking in. In the wake of a detonation, there is silence. A ringing, empty silence where the world has been scoured clean. The days after the party were like that. The phone rang nonstop. Lawyers, reporters who'd heard whispers from the party guests, friends seeking the gruesome details. I let it go to voicemail. My only focus was Chloe. Explaining it to her was the hardest thing I've ever done. I sat her down, held her hands, and told her a version of the truth, stripped of venom, but not of fact. Daddy and Aunt Mara did something very wrong. They told lies, and they hurt our family very badly. They won't be living with us or seeing us for a while the way they used to. She cried. She asked if it was her fault. I held her until the sobs subsided, my own tears finally falling. Not for Daniel, not for Mara, but for my daughter's lost innocence. It is not your fault, my love. Grown-ups sometimes break things, and we have to be brave while they get fixed. Daniel was served with divorce papers within 48 hours. My lawyer, a fierce woman named Angela, who viewed my dossier with grim approval, assured me the preponderance of evidence, the financial malfeasance, the adultery, the conflict of interest, would leave him with nothing. He would be lucky to avoid criminal charges for misuse of funds. He didn't fight. He signed everything from a cheap motel room, his career in ashes, his reputation a punchline. The last I heard, he'd moved to another state, a broken man doing drafting work under another name. The architect of his own dreams was now a ghost, just as I had been. Mara's fate was, in some ways, worse. She was exposed not just as an adulteress, but as a traitor to her own blood. My parents, devastated and furious, disowned her. Her high-powered corporate world, built on a facade of ruthless competence, wanted nothing to do with the scandal. She was let go from her firm to focus on personal matters. The lawsuits came next. From Croft, from the contractors left unpaid by the collapsed Horizon project. She was drowning in debt and isolation. I heard she tried to reach out to me once, a rambling, desperate email begging for forgiveness, blaming Daniel, blaming circumstance. I didn't respond. I deleted it. For her, my silence was the loudest condemnation. She was left utterly alone, a pariah with nothing and no one. Her ambition had built a palace, and I had made sure she was buried in the rubble. I won. By every measurable metric, I won. The house was mine, free and clear. The studio thrived. I had sole custody of Chloe. I had the sympathy of our community. I had orchestrated the perfect, legal, devastating revenge. So why did I feel so empty? The cold engine that had driven me for a year sputtered and died, leaving me in a quiet, hollowed-out space. I'd spent so long being the ghost, the planner, the architect of ruin, that I didn't know how to be Lena again. The Lena before the betrayal was gone. Who was I now? The answer came slowly, in small moments. It came in the peaceful quiet of the house, now filled only with the sounds of Chloe's laughter and my paintbrushes on canvas. It came in the genuine support of friends who stayed, not out of pity, but out of respect for my strength. It came in the slow, tentative return of sleep, of an appetite, of the ability to hear a love song without feeling sick. I realized the revenge wasn't the end of the story. It was the brutal, necessary surgery that cut out the cancer. The emptiness I felt was the surgical site, clean and raw and ready to heal. The person I was now wasn't the naive Lena or the vengeful phantom. She was someone who had walked through fire and emerged, scarred but unburned. She was wiser. She was fiercer in her love for her child. She was quieter in her joys. She was real. One afternoon, months later, I was cleaning out the study, Daniel's old study. I found a box of old blueprints at the back of a closet. Among them was the original hand-sketched plan for our house from when we were first engaged. We'd drawn it together on a napkin, dreaming. I unfolded it, looking at our youthful, hopeful handwriting in the margins. Lena's sunroom, big kitchen for family. Chloe's room here? I didn't cry. I felt a gentle, profound sadness for those two naive people. They hadn't known the storms ahead. I carefully refolded the blueprints and put it away. Not in the trash, but in a memory box. It was part of the story, but it wasn't the whole story anymore. I walked to the window of the now my study. The backyard was green and peaceful. No ghosts, no echoes of betrayed laughter, just a garden waiting for new memories. The revenge had changed everything. It had destroyed 2 lives and saved 1, mine. But more importantly, it had taught me the most valuable lesson of all, that my peace, my sanity, my daughter's safety were worth fighting for, not with screams, but with a silent, unstoppable will. I had looked into the abyss of betrayal, and instead of letting it consume me, I had used its darkness to see more clearly. The phantom had served her purpose. Now it was time for the woman to live again. If you're listening to this, perhaps you're in pain. Perhaps you've seen a text that shouldn't exist, heard a lie that doesn't fit, felt the cold dread of betrayal seeping into your bones. Your heart might be screaming for a confrontation, for a messy, emotional explosion that makes the pain external. I'm here to tell you, don't. My story is not a blueprint for revenge. It's a cautionary tale about the cost of it and a testament to the power of patience. The path I walked was dark, lonely, and it changed me in ways I'm still understanding. I don't recommend it, but I do recommend the core lesson it beat into me. Your greatest power is not in your reaction, but in your response. When the world tells you to scream, to cry, to collapse, be silent, but not a passive silence, a strategic, gathering silence. Use that silence to truly see, to collect the truth, to understand the battlefield before you ever set foot on it. Betrayal hopes for chaos. It thrives on hysterics, on impulsive moves that can be twisted into proof of your instability. Deny it that fuel. The moral of my story isn't that revenge is sweet, it's that survival is paramount. And sometimes, to survive a predator, you must become smarter, quieter, and more patient than they ever imagined you could be. My revenge wasn't about hurting them because they hurt me. It was about creating an immovable barrier between their toxicity and my daughter's future. It was about taking back control of a narrative they thought they owned. But understand this: revenge, even successful revenge, leaves scars. It hardens parts of you that maybe should have stayed soft. It makes you fluent in a language of deception you never wanted to learn. The victory is clean in the court documents, but it's messy in your soul. I had to rebuild myself from the inside out, brick by brick, long after their empire had turned to dust. So, what should you take from this? First, your worth is not defined by their betrayal. Their actions are a reflection of their own emptiness, not your lack. Daniel and Mara were a void pretending to be a fortress. No amount of my love, or my money, or my family could fill it. Second, protect your peace like it's the most precious thing you own. For me, that meant protecting Chloe's world. For you, it might mean protecting your mental health, your financial stability, your art, your spirit. Identify what they are threatening and fortify it with cold, hard facts and legal boundaries, not just emotions. Third, and this is the hardest one, you must eventually let the anger go. Not for them, for you. The anger that fueled me was necessary for a time, but carrying it forever would have made me a prisoner in the very jail I built for them. Letting go wasn't forgiveness, it was a release. I don't forgive Daniel or Mara. I am indifferent to them. They are people who no longer exist in my world. That is the ultimate victory. Not their suffering, but my freedom. The title of this story is I Didn't Scream, I Planned, and what happened next was worse. Worse was for them. For me, what happened next was liberation. It was a future reclaimed. It was a quiet, powerful life, built not on the dream of a we that never truly existed, but on the solid, unshakable foundation of I. I am still standing. I am still here. And my story is mine again. If you're in the dark place I once was, know this: you have a strength inside of you that the betrayer cannot comprehend. You have a resilience that their shallow deception can never touch. Be silent, be smart, be patient. Plan for your survival, for your justice, but most of all, plan for the day after the revenge. Plan for the peace. Because that is the only thing truly worth winning. Thank you for listening. Be strong.